The living room was filled with vibrant colors and joyful chaos. Balloons hung from the ceiling, streamers twisted in playful spirals, and a large banner read, "Happy Birthday." Little Ben had been talking about his next birthday for months. Every day, he added something new to his plans. This year, he wanted a superhero-themed party, complete with a cake shaped like his favorite comic book character. He would invite all his friends from school, and they'd have an epic water balloon fight in the backyard. He even planned what presents he wanted, leaving his parents little notes and drawings about them. His excitement was contagious, lighting up the house with laughter and life. But life has a cruel way of changing things. 2 weeks before his birthday, Ben got sick. At first, it seemed like a simple cold, the kind children bounce back from after a few days. But the illness lingered, deepened, and soon the doctors confirmed the worst. Ben had an aggressive, undiagnosed condition, and it was terminal. In the days that followed, Ben's room, once filled with the echoes of his chatter and laughter, became quieter. His bed was surrounded by stuffed animals and action figures, reminders of the vibrant child who was now too weak to play with them. His parents, Tom and Sarah, watched helplessly as their boy slipped further away from them. They held on to the sliver of hope that he might somehow make it to his birthday, that he could see the celebration he'd been so excited about. But deep down, they knew the truth. One morning, when the sky outside was a dull gray and the world seemed to hold its breath, Ben passed away peacefully in his sleep, with his parents by his side. His small hand, still clutching the corner of his favorite blanket, went cold in theirs. The house, once filled with the warmth of his presence, felt unbearably empty. The days blurred together after Ben's death. Tom and Sarah were consumed by grief, their world turned upside down. They spent their days planning the funeral, selecting a small grave in the cemetery, and trying to comprehend the unbearable loss of their child. But even as they grieved, one date loomed in their minds, Ben's birthday. The invitations had already been sent out. The decorations had already been bought. His little superhero cake was still ordered, waiting for pickup. As the date approached, Sarah found herself holding on to the remnants of the party that never would be. She kept the decorations stored in the hall closet, the banner folded neatly at the top. She couldn't bring herself to throw anything away. Tom, on the other hand, couldn't bear to look at any of it. He had taken down the calendar, erasing the big red circle around Ben's birthday. But they both knew that the day was coming. There was no escaping it. On what would have been Ben's 6th birthday, the house was eerily silent. There were no balloons, no laughter, no water balloon fight in the backyard. The only sounds were the soft footsteps of Tom and Sarah as they prepared themselves to visit his grave. They dressed in silence, the weight of the day pressing down on them like a heavy, unshakable burden. Sarah clutched a small bouquet of daisies, Ben's favorite. Tom carried a folded-up birthday card that Ben had drawn for himself weeks before, a stick figure superhero with a big number 6 above his head. It had been lying on the fridge, waiting for the day they'd give it to him. Now it would lie at his grave instead. The cemetery was quiet except for the rustling of the wind through the trees. Ben's grave was small, adorned with a simple headstone that read, "Benjamin Thomas, forever our superhero." Sarah knelt down and placed the bouquet at the base of the stone, her tears falling silently onto the grass. Tom stood next to her, struggling to keep his composure. He carefully unfolded the card and placed it next to the flowers. His hand lingered on the headstone, tracing Ben's name with trembling fingers. "I miss you so much, buddy," Tom whispered, his voice breaking. The emptiness of the world around them seemed to mirror the emptiness inside their hearts. They stood there for what felt like hours, lost in their grief, remembering the bright, joyful child who had been taken from them far too soon. They could still hear his laughter in their memories, still feel his small hand in theirs, but now those moments were just ghosts of the past. Later that evening, Tom and Sarah sat together on the couch, holding each other close. The birthday that Ben had been so excited for had come and gone, not with the celebration he had dreamed of, but with a quiet visit to his grave. The silence of the house was overwhelming, but as they sat together, they found a small comfort in each other's presence. They had lost their child, but they still had each other. "I think he's celebrating somewhere," Sarah said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "With all the superheroes he loves so much." Tom nodded, though his heart ached. "Yeah," he said quietly, "I think so too." They sat in silence, wrapped in their shared grief, knowing that no birthday, no moment would ever be the same again. But despite the pain, they would carry Ben with them, his memory a fragile light in the darkness that surrounded them. The balloons would remain in the closet, the cake uneaten, the water balloons left untouched, but Ben's spirit, his laughter, his joy, his dreams would live on in their hearts, forever celebrating a birthday that never came.